this video, I have a look at how you can use everyday items as Gobos in a small studio.
Adorama TV presents Take and Make Great Photography with Gavin Hoey.
Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching Adorama TV, brought to you by Adorama, the camera store that has everything for us photographers. In this video, I'm looking at Gobos. Now, what's a Gobo? It's something that goes between the light source and the model, or the light source and the background. Basically, a Gobo adds interesting shadows to your shot. Now, there are some brilliant devices for casting perfect shadows. I'm not going to be using those in this video. No, in this video, I'm going to use some real DIY homebrew equipment to create my shadows. So let's get everything set up and get shooting. So once again, I'm joined by Beth in the studio, and once again, Beth is against a grey background. Now, the idea here is we're going to take the grey and make it more interesting with Gobos, but to begin with, we'll just take a standard shot to see what we get a starting point. So I've got a streak light in a softbox. That's it, simple lighting. Let's meter the light, pop this underneath Beth's chin, and I'm getting f5.6. So I've got that dialed into the camera. Let's just take a few shots like that. Here we go. Look towards the light for me. So as you can see, we've got lovely simple lighting, grey background. It all works just fine. But the idea here is that we get more interesting lighting using Gobos. So I've got a second flash, and I'm going to bring that around to the side of Beth. Now my first Gobo is going to be this, and you might be wondering what this is. Well, it's a thing you put cutlery in. It's just a cheap metal thing with holes in, and it's the holes that are going to allow us to get the light to pass through, get more interesting shots. Now, I was hoping, being metal, it'll stick onto the MagMods, but I'm afraid it's the wrong type of metal. So I'm going to need an assistant to help me. Come on in, Sam. Sam is going to hold that against the front of the speed light. And we're going to take a few shots like that. Now I'm going to start with the speed light turned down to 1/8 of its full power. And we'll just take a shot like that, see what we get. Okay, so Beth, keep turning towards the light for me, Beth. So if you turn your whole body towards the light, that's terrific. As you can see, we get a little splash of light back there, which is really nice. But of course, I can change the effect in a couple of different ways. I can increase the power. And I can also change it by asking Sam to rotate the Gobo as we take shots. So each time she turns it a little bit, the position of the holes will be slightly different, and the background effect will be different as well. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to look for some angles for me this time. That's right. It's definitely more of the angular shots. Okay, can you still hold it in front? Lovely. Okay. No, I quite like your hands back. Yeah, that was okay. Don't worry, that's good. So as you can see, we get a whole variety of different effects simply by adding a small metal kitchen utensil in front of a standard speed light. And it really does elevate that background into something a little bit more dramatic than a simple grey paper background. So for the second setup, we've swapped from a softbox to a single speed light because it's all about size of light for the effect I want. Now I've got some black lace here and it's got a really nice pattern on it, and I want to project that pattern on to Beth. Now because I'm using a speed light, this is a relatively small size of light. The smaller you make your light, the harder it is, and when it comes to shadows, hard light gives you more defined shadows. So if I get my speed light and pop it way over here, the further away you put your speed light, then of course the smaller it becomes relative to the subject. So we're using the basics of light to create interesting shadows, and we're using the black lace to actually give us the form and shape. Now it's important that this actually points at Beth like that. That's great. And I need to meter. So let me get my meter and we'll just pop this underneath Beth's chin, pointing back at the flash. You always need to meter from the flash like that. If you meter towards the camera, of course, you'd get the wrong exposure. If you want to find out more on how to use a flash meter, remember to check out my previous video here on Adorama TV. Okay, that's giving me f3.2. I would like a little bit more light than that. So if I increase it by about a stop, to f5.6. So that's kind of my aperture I want to use. I've got f5.6 dialed in on the camera. Let's take a shot and see how this works. Okay, Beth, here we go. So that works really well. We get some great shadows on Beth. Perhaps they're not as sharp as I would like, and definitely that background isn't working for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this. Now this is a snoot. This is the MagMod rubber snoot, and this is going to help me to do two things. First of all, it's going to help by making the source of the light even smaller, and even smaller means even sharper edged shadows, but also it means that the light won't spill onto the background, so my background should go very dark and hopefully black. One of the great things about grey is you can turn it to black if you don't light it, even in a small studio like this. Okay, now that will require remetering, so get my flash meter, again point the little cone towards the flash, and that's cost me nearly a whole stop of light. So I increase the flash power, get it back to f5.6, and then I'm good to shoot again. Okay, here we go. Brilliant. You just turn your head towards me slightly, so you can bring it around a bit more. Okay, hold it right there. That's terrific. And keep your head still, but move your eyes just slightly around this side. Hold it right there, that's perfect. And that worked really well. I've got a beautiful black background, great shadows, and just a hint of detail in the black lace itself. Okay, let's set one more up. Right, so this time what we've got is hessian, which is sackcloth. It is cloth with lots of little holes in it, and of course it's the holes that are going to give me the shadows and create a really, hopefully, a really dramatic shot. Now again, I need to meter because this is a different material, so a different amount of light will come from this side to this side, and it's this side I need to meter for because we need to know how much light is on Beth passing through the gobo. So if I meter here, I'm finding actually, again, I'm lost nearly a stop, 2/3 of a stop, so I could increase the power, double check, make sure I'm actually right. Yeah, I'm back to f5.6 once again, so my exposure is back where I want it to be. Let's take some shots. Okay, now bring your hand up to your face. Okay, can you get your head right up against it so you're literally going to get past it? I know it smells a bit. Those pictures have a completely different feel. They almost feel like summer. They have that warmth through the hessian, and that works so well with Beth as well. That really makes a great gobo. With gobos, it's all about the shadows. How you create those is entirely up to you. And hopefully this video has given you some ideas of things you could use that maybe weren't photographically designed in the first place. Now, if you want to see more videos from myself and the other amazing presenters here on Adorama TV, you know what you've got to do? You've got to be clicking on that subscribe button. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.